Hello students, today I have a video for you on the subject mathematics. The book that we are following is Understanding Mathematics and we will be doing some exercises from the first chapter, warm-up, estimation and rounding off. Let me first explain to you what is estimation. Estimation is when you assume a number close to the value given. Let me give you an example, it will be better. Suppose you invite all your classmates to your birthday party. Now maybe there are 50 students in your class, but all of them might not be able to come. Some might not know your address, some might be busy. So for how many students will you prepare food? So you can tell your mother that mother, around 40 students might be coming. So she will prepare the food accordingly. So this is called rounding off. So rounding off helps us to get an estimated value. Let me show you how it works. You must have heard rounding off to the nearest 10 or rounding off to the nearest 100 or rounding off to the nearest 1000. So I'm going to show you two processes today. The first one is rounding off to the nearest 10. Now what happens when we round off to the nearest 10? Let me show you. Let us take an example, 231. So when we are rounding off to the nearest 10, we choose the number that is in the ones place. Remember, when we are rounding off to the nearest 10, we choose the number that is in the ones place. In case of 231, the number in the ones place is 1. So what we do, when we round it off, we change that number to 0. So your estimated number is, or rounded off number is 230. I hope this was clear. Let us take another example. 235. Now, in case of 235, 5 is the number in the ones place. So we changed it to 230. Now there is a difference when the number is 1, 2, 3, 4 and when the number is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, like in the first example, we simply change the number to 0. But when the number is 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, like in the second example, we add 1 to the number before it. That means the number before 5 is 3. So we have added 1 to 3 and the actual answer is 240. So 240 is the rounded off number. Let's see another example. 236. So I have taken another common example over here. We call 231, 235 and 236 the original number. Now let's round it off. In 236, 6 is in the ones place. So 6 is changed to 0. Now as I told you, if the number is 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, we add 1 to the previous number. So the previous number is 3. After we added 1, it changes to 240. That is the estimated number. So I hope you understood how to do this. Now let us move on to another example. 342. Once again, 2 is in the ones place, so we change that to 0. Now as I told you, if it is 1, 2, 3 and 4, you do not have to add anything to the previous number and our answer is simply 340. I hope by this example it was absolutely clear. Let's move on to rounding off to the nearest hundreds. Now, when we were rounding off to the nearest 10, we choose the number which was in the ones place. When we are rounding off to the nearest 100, we choose the number which is in the tens place. Let's see an example. Our first example is 231. So I took the same number here. Now the number in the tens place is 3. So what we do is we change the number in the tens and ones place to 0. So our estimated number is 200. And as I mentioned before, since the number is 3, it's not 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. So the previous number, that is 2, does not change at all. The estimated number is 200. Let's see another next example, 235. Once again, 3 and 5, the number in the tens and ones place, changed to 0 and 3 is less than 5, so no other changes will take place. One more example, 253. Now you see, 53 is the number in the tens and ones place that we changed to 0. Now 5, as I told you, if the number is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the number that we are focusing on, the number in the tens place is 5. So what we do, we add 1 to the previous number and therefore our estimated number is 3 100. Let's see a final example. 3680. Now in the tens and ones place we have 8 and 0. So we converted them to double zero. Now 8 is greater than 5. So what we did is we added 1 to the previous number, that is 6. So our estimated number is 3700. So I hope you understood how estimation works. So now we are going to apply this on question number 6 and 7. Let's start with question number 6. Once again, I have written down the question in black ink. That means you do not have to copy it. You have to copy what we are going to do now. Rounding off 126, we get 130. We are rounding it off to the nearest tens as it is given in the question. So 6 is converted to 0, and since it is greater than 5, so we add 1 to the previous number. So our estimated number or rounded off number is 130. Next, rounding of 311, we get 310. 1 is in the ones place, that is changed to 0, and no change takes place in the previous number. Now, we find the actual sum and the estimated sum. In the actual sum, we use the actual numbers, that is 126 and 311, and in the estimated sum, we use the rounded off numbers, that is 130 and 310. And our answers are 437 and 440. So if you notice, after rounding off, they are more or less the same number. When we round off 437, 7 changes to 0, and since 7 is greater than 5, so 1 is added to 3. So the answer is 440. So you see, our actual sum, when it is rounded off, we get the estimated sum. Question number 7. Round off to the nearest hundreds and find the actual and estimated differences. Now here they have asked you to find the differences, means subtraction, of 538 and 295. Let's start. Rounding off 538, we get 500, and rounding off 295, we get 300. Now let's find the actual difference and the estimated difference. For the actual difference, we take 538 and 295, and for the estimated difference, we take 500 and 300. And our answers are 243 and 200. In the actual difference, we have done some borrowing. If you have any doubt, you can do the borrowing yourself and clarify your answer. So you see, once more, when we actually round off 243, we get the answer 200. So our answer is correct. That's all for today. Thank you.